What camera would I buy with 1,000 euro as a budget in 2019? This video. Konnichiwa, watashi no name wa Benjamin Jaworskyj, and this was Japanese, and I give a shout out to all Japanese people watching this video right now. I give a shout out to every different language, nation and people who are watching my videos, because this is the English channel. So shout out to Japan. If I should give a shout out to your country, language, nation, whatever, write it in the comments below. Let's start with the video. So I made a video about this topic in the last year, and it was very well clicked and a lot of people were interested in this video, so we said let's make a new video, but now let's make it with 1,000 euro as a budget. 1,000 euro is a lot. It's not that you are a beginner, maybe you have already a camera and you want to invest a bit more, or you are a beginner and have some good budget and want a good solid camera. I researched and looked from my opinion, and I will give you some pros and cons about each camera. I have 5 cameras for you, and you can then choose what camera you take a look at. I would definitely recommend you to take the camera in the hand, to just get a feeling of the camera. It's just like with Harry Potter and his stick. The stick comes to you, and the camera chooses you. So get the camera in the hand. Okay, let's start. The first camera I have for you is the Fuji X-T20. And it's an APS-C camera. It costs something around 700 euro. Of course, I did not mention, whenever you're watching the video, the prices might be different, and depending in which country you live, what taxes you have, the prices might be a bit different. So don't name me on the prices, but I looked today in the prices. Alright, so the X-T20 by Fujifilm costs around 700 euro. It's an APS-C camera, 24.3 megapixel, 14 frames per second continuous shooting, so that is very great for wildlife or for sport. It means that you can make with the images. It has Wi-Fi, it has a touch screen, it has video possibilities. All the cameras I chose are as well for filmmakers, and I go from the point of you want to make videos and photography, not only one thing, so I look from my perspective. So it can make 4K video, 30 frames, and full HD, 60 frames per second. The pros: it has a very good value for money. I mean, 700 euro, it's under your budget, and you can maybe buy yourself a lens or a tripod or something else for your camera. It has very fast continuous shooting when you photograph. It's good for wildlife and good for as well for portrait, maybe when you just want to capture the right moment. It has touch, and you have some nice image looks on your camera. That is what Fuji is famous for. So you get the nice Fuji film looks on your camera, and you can shoot with those looks on your camera, which I say is a pro. The contra: it does not film 120 frames per second. And it does not have that many lenses, or there are not that many lenses available for Fuji from third-party manufacturers, like with Canon, like with Sony nowadays, and like with Nikon, for example. The next camera I have is the Sony a6300. The body only costs something around 700 euro as well. It is an APS-C camera, 24.2 megapixel, 11 images continuous shooting. It has Wi-Fi, NFC, and video. It has 4K 30 frames and full HD 120 frames. So this camera has it, and as well it has the lock profiles, which is famous for Sony. And you can, when you're a filmmaker, do very good grading with the lock profiles, and this 6300 has it, but it does not have an image stabilizer or sensor stabilizer as well. When you pay 100 more than your budget is, 1,100, you get the 6,500 and maybe a used 6,500 that then might have a sensor stabilizer. But this camera not. But the pros are, it has a fast autofocus, and price value is also good. It's the same like with the Fuji, and as mentioned, it has lock, but no sensor stabilizer. The next camera is the Panasonic Lumix DC GX9. What a complicated name. It costs 650 euro roundabout. It's a micro four third camera, which means it has a smaller sensor. It might be an issue for you. For a lot of people it's not an issue. I would not choose a Micro Four Thirds camera because I like the look of full frame and APS-C, but Micro Four Thirds for me is too small, even with the Micro Four Thirds lenses. It has 20.3 megapixels, 9 frames per second continuous shooting. It has a sensor stabilizer, it has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, a touch screen, and it can film 4K 30 frames and it can film full HD 60 frames per second. The pros, it has a very good price value. It's a bit cheaper even than the Fuji and the Sony. You have a sensor stabilizer, you have touch, and you have a flip viewfinder, which I think is pretty cool. I did not see it before. So you can flip your viewfinder and you photograph or film like this. But the contra, it is only a Micro Four Thirds sensor. You have less continuous shooting, you have less megapixel than the other both cameras, and you don't have 120 frames per second filming. The next camera I would take a look at is the Canon EOS M50. It's a mirrorless camera, and I did not mention that yet. All the cameras I just told you are mirrorless cameras already, DSLM. It's not a DSLR camera. And Canon has the M50, I think it came out last year. It costs body only around 550 euro, which is pretty cheap, and from price value it's the cheapest camera in all of the cameras I will show you, I will talk about. It's an APS-C camera, it has 24 megapixel, 10 frames per second continuous shooting. It has a digital a stabilizer on the sensor for filming only. I did not test the camera yet, but that's what I read. So it's not like a sensor stabilizer 5-axis thing, but some similar stuff, but not, I think, that crazy like the 5-axis thing, which the Panasonic have, or the 6500 by Sony has. It has Wi-Fi, NFC, Bluetooth, touchscreen, and video. It can film 4K 30 frames and full HD 60 frames. So I would say the pros are price value is very, very good, 550 euro. So you can get 2 lenses even with the camera, or tripod and a lens, and so on and so on. So very good price value. It has touch and it has a flip screen. Not a flip viewfinder, but a flip screen. And what I like, you can flip it to the side. Why would you flip to the top? It's stupid. So let's flip it to the side, just like with the 600D, the old good Canon I used myself several years. So you can just view yourself like this when you vlog, or when you want to take a selfie, or when you want to photograph something with a low angle, you can flip the screen to the side, or when you want to film. So it's a very good thing. I think every camera should have a flip screen. But the contra with this camera is it has a 1.6 crop when you film 4K, and 120 frames per second is only possible in 720p, so lower resolution. Newer lenses, when you think now, oh, I have Canon lenses already, let's buy the DSLM by Canon, you cannot use on the M50, it has a new mount, but you can use it with an adapter, so that might be a pro as well, but in the first place it's a contra because you need that adapter, you need to buy it. It costs something like 150, 200 euro. I put the link about everything I talk about in the description as well about the adapter. So you could use your old lens with an adapter on that camera, or you get yourself a M-mount lens, it's now called, for this camera. And the last camera in the test, we have now Canon, Fuji, Panasonic, and we have Sony, is a Nikon, of course, but we looked for great Nikon cameras below 1,000 euro, and great Nikon cameras below 1,000 euro, it's not really possible. There's also no mirrorless Nikon camera below 1,000 euro, so we had to choose another one. We took the Nikon D7200. It's an APS-C camera, 24 megapixel. It costs something around 700 to 800 euro as well, body only, and it can film HD 30 frames and it can film HD 60 frames with a crop. It has Wi-Fi and it can shoot 6 images per second continuous shooting. Yeah, it's not that fast. So let's look for the pros on this camera. It costs below 1,000 euro, that is good. And the pros would be, it has a Nikon mount. Hey, you can use your old Nikon lenses when you have old Nikon lenses because it has a Nikon mount. And it has a long battery life because it's not mirrorless, it's a mirror camera. Yeah, DSLR. So yeah, that's it, Pro. The contrasts are, it does not have that much frames per second filming and shooting, continuous shooting. The price value is not that good because it costs 800 euro, and look at the other cameras I just taught you. This camera does not have that good money value. You can get the newer one, 7500. It can then film 4K. It's a bit faster as well, but it costs over 1000 euros, something 1050, 1100 euro, just like the 6500 by Sony. Those were the 5 cameras, and you can now go on the internet, check the prices yourself in your country. You can take the cameras in your own hand, and maybe you have another camera I forgot or you would recommend, then write it in the comments below. And of course, if you have 1000 euro of a budget, which is quite good, then you could take a look on the used market as well and get some nice used or older cameras I did not talk about now in the video. Something like the A7 by Sony or the A7R, the first generation, or something like the Canon 6D. All of them cost below 1000 euro, even new, or when you get them used, you maybe make a better price than with a lens or something. So check that out. Those would be then full frame cameras as well, and they costed a lot 4 years ago or 3 years ago, but now you can get them below 1000 bucks. So yeah, write me what camera you prefer of those cameras I just talked about, and maybe what camera I forgot in the comments below. And amongst all people that write a comment, I will give away one of my courses. Quick commercial. At learnfromben.com I have download courses for photography beginners and advanced photographers about image editing, about filmmaking, learnfromben.com, and I will give away one of those courses now. I will give away my filmmaking course, because I talked about a lot of features like 4K and 120 frames, and what that actually means you learn in that course about filmmaking. Easy learn filmmaking at learnfromben.com. So write a comment and maybe win the course. I wish you good luck. Hit thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, hit the little bell on top, and yeah, I see you next time, and I take a look for other cameras now.